I think it's safe to say that a lot of people are not thrilled with Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War's audio. There are definitely a significant amount of issues, particularly if you're playing it on PlayStation 5. As I've mentioned in previous videos, turn 3D audio off. It's going to make this game significantly muddier. But once you do that and you're starting to get into the nitty gritty and really trying to understand the waveforms and really trying to get the most out of this game, I think you're going to come to the same conclusion that I have come to, and that is that this game is more about style than it is about performance. And I'll talk about a little bit why later on when I get into some of the equalizer settings to explain that. But when you look at the official blog, this is the Call of Duty blog. This is right off of their official website. This is the Treyarch's blog, basically walking through everything about Call of Duty. Now, this one is the PlayStation blog, but they do make one for Xbox as well as PC. And I'll post a link to all this in the description below, so don't worry about hunting and pecking. Just sit back and enjoy the show. When you scroll down a little bit here, you get into the audio section. And this is the only time they actually ever address audio anywhere in anything Call of Duty related in terms of information, frequently asked questions, user guides, anything. And this is just a copy and paste route out of the UI. There's not really a lot more information here that kind of helps you understand what these waveforms do, other than just saying that, you know, these are settings that you could use. And it's very, very vague, like headphones, recommended for headphone users. That is probably the least helpful tooltip I've ever seen of anything that tells me nothing. When you compare that to what Infinity Ward did when they put out their blog last year, or 2 years ago when that game came out, they actually include waveforms, and they actually include a write-up of what each individual set does. And this is where you really start to understand, oh wow, they really took this seriously, because they're actually including waveforms to show you, oh, what does boost high actually do? What does boost low actually do? And it explains it to you in really nice, clear detail. And then you got the waveform. So you can look at it and understand what frequencies are popping where and kind of tune it in a way that makes the game work for you. As where Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War doesn't really do that as much. So this video is really about, and I want to preface that because I want to focus on the SteelSeries 7P. As you guys know, I've done some videos on them. They are my favorite headphones for gaming right now, period. I love them over any other pair of headphones I have. I've done extensive headphone videos on this channel. A lot of you guys keep coming back because you're asking for more stuff about that, so I've become a resident expert on headphones, I guess we'll say. What you're looking at here is my Arctis 7P configuration page. This is a screenshot of the SteelSeries Engine 3, which is the interface in which you connect your headphones to toggle the equalizer settings. I know they're in the process of porting over to SteelSeries GG, which is the same thing. If you have a nicer pair of headphones from SteelSeries, your page may look slightly different. This is obviously for the 7P specifically. So that's why my equalizer settings might not look as great as yours. You may have more settings if you're running the 9s or the Pros or whatever you got. This is just for the 7P. Now what you'll notice here is that my preset is actually just on performance. I did not toggle this anyway, and that is a preloaded preset that you are able to select from SteelSeries. It's already built in. All you got to do is select it and go. You'll also notice that I left my compression at 0. I did not do any compression. Some people recommend a low compression because what it'll do is it will take the extreme loud sound and the extremely low sound and they kind of bring them together. I find you lose a lot of the oomph in an explosion. It's nice to hear. It's got a nice rumble to it. But if there's anything I would change on this particular setting, to me, would be potentially changing this to a low. And I know a lot of you guys are going to ask because you're saying it's too small. I'm already on you. I got you. I'm going to go ahead and blow this up while I talk for a few minutes and explain some more about Call of Duty specifically. There you guys go. It should be nice and clear to read now. Call of Duty, I feel like their problem is, as I mentioned, they're not so much about pure audio quality. They're really more into the presentation. The game includes a litany of soundtracks that play over the game. There's even a media player mode in the game where it will play selected tracks from the soundtrack over your multiplayer matches, which I can't really recall anybody who has ever wanted that or have ever done that. Typically, the competitive focus is on footsteps and on directional fire and 3D awareness of sound to pinpoint and target enemies rather than listen to some dopey, low-quality file of a loop of some generic song that's featured in the game. Can't understand why they would put that in there, but that really does, between that and that blog post that I showed you a few minutes ago, I think really does lay the groundwork for the fact that I don't think Treyarch takes audio as seriously as Infinity Ward does, and that's unfortunate. That's why, to me, you want to be able to have a nice pair of headphones like these 7Ps that do allow you to change an equalizer, to adjust certain settings. And if you really look at this and kind of compare it back to that Infinite Warfare screen that I had before, you'll notice the waveforms do kind of line up with what you would expect to see to really, what's the word I'm looking for? Really amplify the footstep sound and really muffle down some of the wonky, overly bassy audio, I guess. And I think that that's one of the things that I think Call of Duty Black Ops really suffers with right now, is their bass is all over the place. And when you add that in with their overlaying of other sounds, they just don't seem to have the finger on the pulse of what people want. So to me, I believe this is the right way to set up your sound. But the story doesn't stop here. I want to bring in this now. This is a screenshot from the audio tab on the Black Ops page, actually on your console. I have two things highlighted here in yellow blocks. I think for the most part, the reason why I have music volume not completely at 0 is because it is nice to hear a flare of music at the very, very end of the game, but not over blaring, just a little bit, just a pinch of background music to let you know the game's coming to an end. Unless you're glued to the score screen, most people are focused on the action and not paying attention. Having that music cue in the background ramping up as the match is about to end, I think does give you a good sense of situational awareness, like, oh my God, I got to dump all my kill streaks. I got to be very aggressive for the next 10, 15 seconds because the game's about to end. Particularly if it's one of those close matches. I can't tell you the number of times I've won a match because I've played incredibly aggressively, grabbed a dog tag at the very last second and win like 199 or like very high end score at the end. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I don't have that music blaring for the last minute of the game. It's slowly muffled. That's where the 40-50% comes in, but it kicks up when you need it to at the end. Obviously, sound effects, you're going to want to leave it 100%. If you don't, I don't know why you're watching this video. The two that I'm really, really focusing on here, the dialogue volume and the audio presets. The dialogue volume, I have got to say in Call of Duty, this is the chattiest bunch of NPCs I have ever seen in my life. Obviously, they're not NPCs, they're your teammates, but the other players in the game, and I'm not talking about on comms where the guy's got his DualSense microphone open and you can hear his wife doing dishes in the other room or something. No, I'm talking about the audio in the game where characters are constantly telling you about them reloading and what they saw and what kill streaks they have. And, it's too much. I highly recommend you lower this. This particular screenshot I took was when it was at 90%. I have since dropped this down to 20%. I don't want to hear other people talking in the game unless it's my friends on comms. Now, you will lose out on some situational awareness because sometimes those call-outs are useful. Enemy here, enemy there. But I don't need to hear Adler every 10 seconds telling me, bring it back, you're in the lead, you're behind. It's too much talking. I recommend either dropping this down incredibly low or completely deleting it together. You will miss out when you hear players call in NPCs. Like when they call in a kill streak, you will miss out on some of that audio. However, because all your other sound is so immersive, you're going to figure out what's going on pretty quick. I don't necessarily need to know that my teammate's calling in a napalm strike every 10 seconds in the latter half of the match. It really doesn't affect my personal gameplay. It'd be nice to know if the enemy is calling napalm on me, but let's be honest. Usually if napalm's calmed on you, you're going to die anyway. So hearing it doesn't really change a whole lot. That's why I think the dialogue volume really needs to be lowered. And then the last one here is audio preset. There's been a big debate on this between what is the best. The previous answer was definitely high boost. And if you go back to, I'll come back to this page in a minute. If you go to the high boost page here and you look at this particular waveform, you see how much it drops off over here on this low end frequency, which really does align with what the equalizer performance setting is, which is one of the reasons why I really recommend that performance setting, because it really does kind of line up with that natural curve up. Now, for whatever reason, they felt that the boost high needed to drop it off a little bit on the end as well. You know, it does drop off, as where on my performance, it actually is a slight bump. I guess if you wanted to, you may be able to lower this down a little bit, but I don't think you're going to notice this. You're starting to get up pretty high here. I'm not sure how well you're going to hear that kind of frequency anyway. But what I will say is high boost does seem to align very well with performance on paper. That said, to me, and everybody has a different preference on this, there is no golden ear, as I mentioned in all of these videos. It's what works for you. Don't worry about convincing other people. Don't pick what I pick solely because this is what I said. You have to find what's comfortable for you. That's what I love about the 7Ps, is that you have that equalizer setting. So if you don't like the way this is set up, you could drop it, you could raise it. You can find what works for you. But what I will say is, to me, for whatever bizarre reason, yet another reason why I believe Call of Duty Black Ops sound profile isn't that great, is I actually prefer the Treyarch mix. What is a Treyarch mix, you ask? Well, we don't even know. It's a developer recommended sound set mix by default. Have no idea what it does. We will probably never know what it does. But to me, if you take those 7Ps, put them on performance, you clean up these settings, maybe adjust that dialogue volume way down in the toilet, I think you put this on audio preset on Treyarch mix, I think you're going to have some phenomenal matches, and I think you're going to hear significantly better than you did before. Now, that's not to say high boost doesn't work on its own. That's not to say that high boost doesn't work in certain situations. For my particular play style, for my particular ears, this is the way to go. Change that preset from high boost to Treyarch mix. But I think, I really do believe this, based on everything I said, with how not so great the Call of Duty audio is, I believe performance is where you're going to want to start. You may tweak it a little bit here, and I definitely think you're going to want to have settings very similar to this. If you find something that radically is different than this, and I'm not talking about, hey Jim, I adjusted my 11K frequency from 5.7 to 5.8 and it's so much better. Like, I get it. I understand. If there's some radically different waveform that is not like this, something that looks like a diamond or something, and you think it sounds good, let me know. I would love to test it. This is very easy for me to change, very easy for me to run upstairs, fire up the old PS5, give it a run, and report back if it's something that you think is. And put those comments below. Let me know your thoughts. If you tried what I did and you like it and you think it's good, leave those comments below too. I want to hear from you guys. I want to try to help. I am just as frustrated as every one of you over what Call of Duty and what this nonsense that Treyarch has presented to us is. I miss the days of Infinite Warfare with much more detailed information, but let's face it, it's an older game. Everybody's jumping on the Call of Duty Black Ops. So am I. I really hope you guys found this video informative. Leave some comments, leave some likes, some subs, whatever. Let me know your thoughts below. I will have links to all of this in the description, so go ahead and click through all those. I'll have links to my other 3D audio videos and the descriptions below. You can check all those out too. So there's a lot of good content there to try to tune your headphones to make some of these games sound as good as they should. And that's it. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.